Let's talk about us a little bit, what we do, who we are. So first of all, who are we and why you should care? We are Flying Red, as it was already mentioned couple times, and most of all, we are game enthusiastic. We've been Most of us who work in Flying Red Studio, we've been in the industry then for more than 10 years, and we love playing games. We love to develop the games, and after those 10, 11 years, guess what? We still do. And beer helps a lot for some folks more for than the others. Coffee helps as well, but honestly what helps the most is the people we are working with it and who are creating it with us, even in the studio, but not just in the studio. Most of the people here, like at the Game Beer, and people who are working in the game industry in the Czech Republic, worldwide, etc. It's because, well, in the Czech Republic we are quite small state, but we have such a huge impact on the game industry, and we've got so many strong titles which are known around the world. We've got hardcore army simulator, which is known, but we also have a cute adventure or platformer, and they are all known around the world. And people like to talk about it, and people like to improve it, and say that we are now doing this cool thing, and share it with us, enjoy it, and improve yourself. And it's not common in other industries, because in other industries it's like we are having this procedure, and if you copy it, we're going to sue you. But not in the game industry. We all enjoy it, we love what we do, and we love to share it. And that's why we are here. And I think that it is awesome. But before I say what we actually do, like on the physical level or on digital level, we will show you a little bit of video which is representing our studio, and also it's funny to look at the pictures than looking at me. So let's start with our video. So I'm happy you guys enjoy it. We are very proud of it. And yeah. So what we actually do on a physical level, we are a full cycle development partner with own titles and ambition to fly. But what does it mean? It means that, well, our strongest suit is the technology, and we are helping other studios, other partners with the technology challenges or parts of the games or porting on the consoles. Because, well, if you are doing it, for example, porting on the consoles for the first time, it's not the easiest thing, and you will save a lot of nerves and lots of long nights if you outsource it to somebody who already did it in the past. But that is no. For example, we did a little project that a game from the very uh, from first scratch to full release, and it was done by our team, our designers, graphics. So we do it all, and we enjoy to doing it with the people who share the same passion, and the teams that are sharing the same love for the games as we do. And we are happy and lucky enough that we've got a strong partners and studios which are already been working with us or already working with us at the moment, not just in the Czech Republic, but worldwide. So I'll show you some of our partners which we are working with. So yeah, Gold Knight Studio, we are cooperating on the last Ori crew. Uh, Sorry, no, it's working, it's working. It's fine. Yeah, we are working on the beat games. Very proud of it. We love the game. Slipgate Ironworks. Sorry, it's taking longer than it should be. Plan A, 3D Realms, and our most recent cooperation is with the Red Hook Studio. It's Canadian-based studio, which we are very happy to cooperate with well, as well. But mostly, they are all those studios are the people who love the game, and we are very happy to cooperate with. So, but that's not all. We have our own project. We call it a Project Cheese, and our goal here is to make a successful game. But by successful, I don't mean to have it like billions downloads, to have a billions of the revenues, buying our own islands. Even though that would be actually cool. I can imagine having an island and having a game beer there, maybe a little party. But no, that's not our aim. Our aim is to make a game which is somewhat unique and that people will love, and they will show it to friends and family and say, you see this little game, it's from the Flying Franklin studio, and this little game I really enjoyed, and that's our goal. And we want to develop many titles such as these. So hold stump for us and wish us luck. But I will let the word to Martin, and he will continue about what's the project Cheese is really about, and he will tell you some more interesting stuff.
Martin, I'm gonna tell you a bit more about our project. A really small bit, to be honest, because we are really in an early stage of development, as many of you know, because you are probably working on your titles as well, and saying anything early can lead to the catastrophe afterwards because everything changes, literally everything. So it doesn't matter if it's unique gameplay or story or style or whatever. So we are really careful about that because we are still working on like fundamental things because our priority. Maybe let's start about why we are actually doing it. It's not about just creating as Matouš already said, title which will get us to do our own islands or something like that, even though it would be cool. But still, for us, it's more about the passion project. Because we are working with amazing partners, as you've seen on the previous slides, we wanted to also express our own, let's say, creativity in our own way. And the most important part on developing the Project Cheese, which is the code name, is not the final name. So hopefully we will see. But the most important part is to iterate over the, let's say, the gameplay part, the funniest part. We don't care right now about the best graphics, animations, and things like that. We care about the gameplay loop that must be really fun, and players must enjoy it, and it generally should be something which really represents us. And one of our goals as well is to create some kind of signature, which is really hard. But for example, from my personal point of view, the Supergiant games, they're games like Hades or The Bastion and Transistor, and those games, even though every single game is different in terms of gameplay, you can see the signature there. You can see still the same team work on these titles. And this is something what we also wanted to find out. Our own unique signature, which we will be carrying over to another titles, which probably will be totally different than the previous ones. So Project Cheese is again in early development. It's hard to tell you like some kind of elevator pitch because it's still too long to say in one elevator run, honestly. But we taking heavy inspiration from games like Celeste or Dead Cells. So it's more like a roguelike game where you are running and dying all over again or losing, let's say, and carrying some kind of global progression over and over time. We really love the Aztec style of from the history. So we are really inspired with the Aztec style of architecture and things like that. And also what we really are fan of is the Zelda style, working with the how to say that, the elements, like water will extinguish the fire, fire will burn wood, and things like that. So this is something what we want to also put to our game, some kind of this kind of physical interactions to actually change, let's say, the environment and the gameplay to be really unique for the player and hopefully enjoyable. So again, as I said over and over again, we are really early, but what I wanted to show you is one, it's render. Hopefully, again. Come on. Yeah, it works. So this is not the gameplay. This is more than alpha, beta, or whatever we can call it. It's generally really early, but this is our hero. There is some kind of octopus enemy behind it, and he's stealing some coins. I know this doesn't tell you much more about the game from this point of view, but again, it's really early. But we really wanted to show you something from the game. So our team created this render, which is really similar to what you can see from the game, but the game is more from the like 2.5D style looking. This is the camera in this render is a bit more angled to showcase the assets and things like that. So yeah. Again, for us, this passion project, we don't have any publisher or someone who is pushing us to release the game. We don't have any pressure, so we really want to like create something which we are going to be proud of and represent our team and our creativity. So it will take a time, hopefully not many years, but we will see. All right, what's on the other slide? Okay, I wanted to give you also something a bit more practical, because right now you heard about our company, what we are doing, with whom we are working, and things like that. But also, as you can imagine, with our partners, we're working on many technical challenges because our team is, I don't know, 80% of developers slash technical people. And also we have huge expertise with consoles, for example, not only the current generation, but previous, and someone also with the previous generations. So we have a lot of experience with the consoles, and very often what we see when we start working with small teams, or generally it doesn't apply, to be honest, on the size of the team. Its general idea is what we should do to make move to the other platforms a bit more or less painful, because as you're developing your game, you're mostly developing on the PCs or Macs, or generally the computers, let's say, and it's really easy to forget about Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, because you can think about it. Okay, we will deal with it later, and the dealing with it later is viable choice, but sometimes it can get really expensive in terms of time, money, and generally the process will be really complicated if you do not think about at least some kind of fundamental things before, during the development of the PC version. So I wanted to give you a few tips, even though it's really small. And most of them are really obvious, but trust me, not everyone, I mean, when you are working on your title, you are really deep in your title. You have some kind of tunnel vision. Okay. You have some kind of tunnel vision when you are developing your game, which is kind of normal. Everyone has have that, so it's fine. But one of the first things which really can get expensive is that game is really not utilizing the technology in which the game is written or created. Even though it's Unity or Unreal or Godot or some kind of art technology, many developers will just start with the tutorials, or maybe with some easy way, let's say, to create their gameplay logic and then build up on that, which is, again, it's nature things. But when you are developing on the consoles, especially on last generation Xbox One or PS4 or Nintendo Switch, for example, those kind of platforms are old in terms of hardware. And if you take your PC game, which runs really good on your PC, which have, I don't know, 12-core CPU and RTX 3080, whatever, it's amazing, but it will not even boot on the Nintendo Switch, because you will run out of the memory just during the booting the game. And some things can be easily changed. You can compress the textures to be lower sized, but if you have fundamental issues, okay. Now I need to look down. But the point what I'm trying to say is think about the code architecture and cleanness as well. I know it's obvious. If you are a programmer, you actually know that. You heard that tons of many times before. But again, compressing texture is, in quotes, easy even though it's not the best way how to do it, but it's easy. But if your logic is really expensive on the CPU, on a PS4 or Xbox One, there is no easy way, like, lowering the CPU utilization just by clicking to compressing the code or whatever. This doesn't, work. And very often, this leads to a complete rewriting of the systems. And as you can think about it, rewriting the complete fundamental system of the game will actually mostly break the game. And it will need, tons of hours of QA and testing to actually achieve the same behavior as was before the optimization happens. So generally, understand your technology, dig deeper, understand how, I don't know, in Unity addressables works, because that's amazing tool which, saved many projects before. I know in Unreal, think about more parallelization of the code using task graphs and things like that. There is ton of amazing tools in those engines and those technologies. So if you are going to use them at maximum if you can. I know it's hard, I know it's complex, but still it can save you, really many hours after that porting to other platforms. All right, what's next? Yeah, gamepad, really obvious one. Currently, gamepads are pretty much everywhere. Even PC gamers can like use gamepads right now. Even they don't like it, but we know still gamepads are part of our life, even on the PC. So, and if your game is heavy on the UI elements, for example, I don't know if you are working on some kind of RPG style of game, moving from the pointer like mouse and keyboard to gamepad, again, it can mean completely rewriting the UI from the scratch, because it will just not work. And if so, there will be a ton of compromises and the players will be really angry with you. So think about the gamepad and gamepad structure in the UI really soon, because again, it can save a lot of time afterwards. Think about your assets. I already touched that. Generally, 4K textures, 8K textures, I don't know, you really need that? You need to answer that question by yourself, but really just open the memory usage of your game and you will see if those 4K textures are worth it. 4K textures, I mean, on the small flowers which are in the corner of the room, and it's taking like 2 pixels on the actual screen. So really think about that. I think we heard stories about City Skylines too, right? Profile early access data. I know this is again a bit complicated, but understand what change is helping your game. Because if you do not have experience, and it really takes a lot of years to gain those experiences, you need to judge where you should spend your time, because time equals money, and you need to understand where put those money to in order to improve your game. And if you don't have any data, you are pretty much blind. Yeah, we have low FPS, but why? It can be CPU bottleneck, it can be GPU bottleneck, it can be, I don't know, we are loading slow from the disks or things like that. So just gathering the data, I know, running the game in some kind of profile mode and storing how much memory we used, how CPU we used, and how GPU we used, and just putting these things to the Excel sheet and doing this like once a month and understanding, okay, now we have half FPS. Okay, what we have done during this month to that we have lowered our FPS. So at least having those data is extremely useful to understand what your actions during the development, what implications of your actions are on the final product, on the game. Expectations, yeah, it's not easy one, but you need to at least to understand. I know, again, PC master races likes to have tons, hundreds FPS, but some of us are fine with the 30 FPS or 60 at least. And it's at least something you need to again think about with before, because you can have brilliant programmer who really loves getting those FPS. But if you have, I don't know, point and click adventure, is really worth it to have 200 FPS. I don't know. You need to judge by yourself. So again, set your expectation goals and the performance goals when or to which you want to target your game. And the last thing, documentation, really great thing, honestly. When you will be starting working with someone else, if it's like some kind of partner like us or other studio, or even if you are bringing someone else on your board to your team, actually, if you can give him, hey, this is the documentation Confluence, or I don't know, other tool you will be using, it doesn't matter. He will be learning about the game and processes from that documentation. It's really time saving for you, because instead of like 3-4 people running around that new person and teaching him everything, you can actually put the documentation is really expensive. So documentation, really good thing. I know it's really hard to actually write it, and if you write it, it really gets outdated very fast. So you need to update it. We've been there, we know that, but it's good to at least mention, especially when you are going to start with someone else. Documentation is key to give them, do you really want to like pay in quotes someone else to learn your game for 3, 4, 5 months? Just learn the game, how it works, how it looks, how the code works. If you can just provide the documentation beforehand, the time can be much, much, much lower. So yeah, I hope this was useful, at least something for you. Yep, I wanted to mention one thing. We also started, I mean, experiment with the Bonfire, which is our meetup, game development meetup. I think it was 2 weeks ago, the Prague one, and 2 weeks to go in the Zlín. So it's experiment, let's say, where we want to, it's kind of similar, but we want to focus more about the development and more like small GDS in quotes, presentations and talks about the technical / development things. So generally, if you hear about Bonfire, it's us which we want to start a tradition if possible. And yep. Nearly finishing there, we also started initiative Flying Red Labs because some people, which is really amazing, have energy after a day of work on their title during the night. It's really amazing. I'm too old to do that actually, but I really impressed by those. So and some of those people, by the way, this guy, he will be talking after me, has had this energy to work on their title overnight. So we started initiative, let's say, which we calling Flying Labs, when we want to embrace this and help our employees and our friends to, I don't know, connect them with the right people, give those tips, for example, on the console things, and generally help them to progress in their development. So we also started the Flying Labs, and I guess that's all. So I think it was already said, but thank you again, Maggie and others organizing the Game Beer. It's really amazing experience. Honestly, it's first time for me. I heard about this before many times, and many people been already here. So it's first time for me, and it's really amazing to see you guys here. It's really empowering, the energy, I can feel it here. So it's really amazing. Thank you for that opportunity to be here. I know I talk a lot. It's kind of my disadvantage. So that's all from my side, and I will switch presentation to the Tadash, and Tadash will show you his overnight project he's working on. Thank you.
Thank you.